Dearest Dr. Saunders and Krishnan Nair here to share this wonderful weekend with all of us. And I'm sure they will have a lot of words of wisdom and their experiences to share with all of us here. Without much further delay, because I know it's 8 o'clock, some of us must have driven long and had a long day, I would like to welcome Brother Doug Saunders and Brother Krishnan Nair to share your experiences. Sarah.
So it's great to be here again, and I had a little sharing last night at Mount Eden, so Mount Eden people can leave.
They couldn't share it.
But, thank you. But, and yes, I have lost weight, and I'm keeping it that weight, so no more you've lost weight, Jay. I know, and it's great. Everyone's probably heard what I've had wonderful times with swimming, but I'll tell you about the very first time was 1993, when Zig had been in April, May, and for her first time in 1993, and Auntie Padma had taken her to Kodai Canal, and she had a brilliant time with Swami there. And in the afternoon after darshan, Swami would get his Sivadals to hold their arms around so no one could get through to go into the hall there that's up there, the prayer hall, where he would sit in there and stand and talk to his students. Not see. Don't tell her she can't do anything. 15 out of 17 days she got under their arms and into the hall. And it's just amazing how she didn't get thrown out. But she got some lovely photos and it was meant to happen. But my first visit was 93 in October. I said, it's probably better to join them. You can't beat them, so I thought, well, I'll go along and see what the Sai Baba's like and what it's all about. So we ended up in Puttapati in October, and Dasara was just starting a few days later, and I didn't have a clue. Everyone was saying, oh, you're going for Dasara, how wonderful. And I said, what's Dinasara? Because I'd never actually learned anything about the Indian or Hindu religion. And as far as I was concerned, from my experiences at school and things, was that Indians all worship 1,000 gods. And then I found out, I read a book from the library before I went, and I found that at the end of the book it said they are many gods, and as Krishnan explained to me today, they all do the gods are for different things to worship, but they all lead to the one God, which was quite true. So I learned a lesson there. But about my fifth darshan there, and those are the days with the arches around. It wasn't Sai Kulwant Hall then, it was the Pune Chandra for the functions, and the arches around, and there were gates down the end where his staff used to sit, and Swami would come out over on the ladies' side, give the ladies a beautiful darshan, past the staff, then come around our men. And on about the fourth time I got front row, right on the corner like that. And all these local guys were poking me in the back saying, "Oh, you are so lucky, sir. Swami always stands here, takes letters and blesses people. You go for Padma, he'll be right in front of you." And I said, "What's that?" And they said, "You touch his feet and kiss his feet." I said, "You're joking. Us white boys don't do that." Anyway, I didn't say it like that. Sure enough, Swami, I watched him coming up, and the whole time he was giving darshan to the ladies and the staff, which was about 25 minutes, I was thinking, shall I? No, I better not. Yes, I will, because Ziggy and the ladies can see me and I'll look cool. No, I better not. No, I won't. And by the time I kind of made up my mind that I will, he was right in front of me, and he was reaching over his shoulder and taking letters and talking to people. You know when he goes like, and he'd take a letter. So I thought, right, now's the chance to go. So I looked down, looked up, he wasn't looking at me, dived for his feet, and just as I did that, he went like that. And I hit my head on the concrete. And everyone around me laughed, and Swami looked back at me as if to say, "I gotcha." And I was so embarrassed. This is the old monkey mind. I thought, oh God, everyone could see that, especially my wife and the ladies. But Zeke said to me after, "We weren't looking at you, we were looking at Swami." But anyway, that was a lovely joke. But the second to last day we were there after Dasara, I was sitting about 8 rows back towards the arches, and Swami used to come around and bless his students that were in wheelchairs under the trees over by the VIP gates. And he came down there, and there was a gap between me and, say, where Kiran was over there. Swami was standing talking to those students. And I thought, I'm not going to run over there, it's just too dangerous. Anyway, he looked at me, and he gave me the most beautiful smile, and that was it. I was hooked, just like that. And from then on in, I gave up meat eating, much to my wife's surprise, gave up smoking, and the funniest thing was that trip as well, I was still smoking, and we drove from Madras to Puttaparthi because 1993-94, Indian Airlines were on strike, and they'd hired Russian pilots who really weren't quite sure how to land these planes, these 737s, and they were actually dropping them in paddy fields before the airfield or just after, kind of injuring quite a few people. So we said, no, we're not going by plane. So we drove, and it took about 12 hours in one of those Maruti vans from Madras right up to Puttaparthi. But I was still smoking then until I got there, and I had these packets of roll-up cigarettes, you know, the old tobacco, those of you who ever smoked. Filters, filters, 3 cigarette lighters, and what else goes with that? Papers. And every half an hour I was rolling a cigarette. I was sitting in the front with the driver, and I heard the Patna lady kept turning around saying, is this man on hashish? I thought I should have been on that stage. But then I rolled a cigarette when we got there. We got a round building, and I put it on the mantelpiece, and I said, right, when I get a chance, I'll have a puff. Well, Zee went out the door. She had seen the Singh family just down the corridor, so she went out to say hello. And as she went out, she closed the door, and it said, no alcohol, no meat eating, no cigarettes, no smoking, no drugs. And I thought, no one's going to see me up here in the top of the round building 5 or something. I'll kind of puff it up. Just as I was ready to puff it up, Zee came back and said, "Coach," so I had to put it back. And I took it with me the first darshan next day, put it in my pocket with a lighter. went down to darshan, and the whole darshan couldn't wait to get outside and have a cigarette because I hadn't had one for 18 hours, and if you've been a smoker, it can be quite difficult. Once darshan was over in Bhajans, I shot out the gate, got my roll-up out, got my lighter ready, put it in the mouth, ready to light it, and I got not attacked, but I got surrounded by 5 beggar ladies with little babies. "Oh, Swami, sorry for baby, milk powder." And I thought, put it back and shot inside, and never smoked again. So that was his doing. It was lovely. But we had some lovely times, and I was just telling Krishnan, I was very blessed and given a veranda seat in 2000. But before that, I used to love going up the hill with the men's at 4 o'clock in the morning. Those of you who have done it, call down to get in the lines 1 to 18 or 1 to 24 if it's a big crowd, mumbling and moaning when you got line number 10 or line number 12, which means you sat all the way back at the end. But it was a learning curve for me, and it was just beautiful. I never forget it. And one of the last darshans of Swami was, for us, I was in the Overseas Devotees Choir. I was in the front row trying to play the guitar. And Swami sits in his chair right where, say, Gulab is, maybe a little closer. And we finished our carols and our songs, the whole Overseas Devotees Choir, and Swami got the bhajans going with the boys. And then he looked at me and this Russian guy beside me with the guitarist, and he kind of went, and we couldn't find a chord, so we were looking at each other, and Swami's going, we almost gave him the guitar. But it was just some beautiful times with the boss. I always called him the boss. And one other time, which was lovely, was after our beautiful choir in 2009. I went to see GV the day before Sports Day. Sports Day was on Saturday the 11th of January, and I went to see him on Friday night, take him for a walk. He was in round building 1. That's Professor Venkata. And he was waiting for me outside on the veranda, right on the edge. This was about 8:10 after dinner. And he said, "Where have you been?" And I said, "Oh, well, sorry." And he said, "They're looking for you. You're in trouble." And I said, "Oh my God, what have I done?" He said, "The Secretary's looking for you, Chakravarti is looking for you, Vice Chancellor's looking for you. You're really in trouble, Doug." And I thought, "Oh God, what have I done?" And then he saw my face. He said, No, it's all right. Swami wants you to come up and sit near him on that beautiful, dais where he sat and watched sport." So that was an absolute unexpected bonus. And when I got down the next morning, because I was so nervous, I was thinking, they'd probably throw me out. And the young boys, the students there that were looking after the seating around Swami up there said, Sri Douglas, we have your name on the seat. Anyway, I'll hand over to young Krishnan, because my mouth's getting a little dry. Thank you.
I recall a story when I had first employed a sales manager for my company. And one of the tasks I had to do was to introduce him to Coal India in Kolkata. So we took him, we flew from Sydney to Bangkok, and then from Bangkok, Sydney to Bangkok, everything was fine. Bangkok to Kolkata. He looked at me, he said, "Krishnan," he was reading a book about India, okay? And he said, "Why are there so many gods in Hinduism?" So I explained to him the Hindu pantheon and how, if you're a farmer, you had a god, a visualization of a god who helped you, and so on and so forth. So anyway, he was very happy with that. He said, "Oh, that's wonderful, And we landed in Kolkata, and we got into a taxi, and we were going on our way to the hotel. It was pitch dark, it was about 9 p.m. at that time. And he and I were sitting at the back seat. And those of you who have been to Kolkata and been in one of those ambassador taxis will know, they go at 100 miles an hour, and there was a truck coming from the opposite side. Both wouldn't give way, and they were blaring their horns at each other, as if that was going to solve the problem. And at the very last minute, they somehow managed to avoid a collision, and they kept going. So I turned around to look at him, but it was so dark I couldn't even see him, so I thought he would be all right. We got to the hotel. He came out of the taxi, and his face was as white as the shirt that Prashant is wearing. Absolutely shocked he was. So I said, "Are you okay, John?" He said, "Yes." And I said, "What happened?" He said, you explained to me about the Hindu pantheon and all that. That's not right, I have worked out why there are so many gods. You need at least 10 gods to look after the traffic in India. That is the reason why you got so many gods. So we carried on with our journey and so on. Dear brothers and sisters, many people will tell you, Swami came to me in a dream and that's how I became a Sai devotee. Others will tell you, I don't know how I became a devotee and I just followed the crowd and became one. In my case, it was just, there was a current that took me in this river. And what happened when I returned from the UK after my graduation and started working for a company in Malaysia. And when I went for the interview, the human resources manager, at that time I didn't know about him, he was a Sai devotee, but there was a photo of Swami on his filing cabinet. And of course, automatically I prayed to him, I prayed to Swami. And he noticed that, I didn't even realize that. And after that, I got the job. And one day he came to me and he said, what are you doing this weekend? I said, nothing in particular. He said, can you come with me? We are going on a retreat. I said, okay. And I said, where to? He said, no, don't worry, just come with me. It is up in Perak, which is a state north of Kuala Lumpur. And it is in virgin jungle. So anyway, we went. And I remember Brother Jaga was, another one was coming with us and he was in the front car. And Brother Jaga came and told us afterwards, if we had gone another kilometer, I would have turned back and gone back to KL. That's how far deep into the jungle we went. Okay, anyway, it was a pretty good experience. But the important thing was the love that I felt from that people, it was amazing. It was an amazing love that I saw there. And I thought, okay, that's something fair enough. After that, one other weekend he told me, can you come with me? I've got a gentleman who is coming from India. He's on his way back to Australia. And he's coming to Malaysia and he's going to be writing a book. And I said, sure, no problem. And I didn't know who the gentleman was. So I went with him. We became good friends eventually and we went. And the night before, I had a dream of a gentleman, a bald-headed Caucasian gentleman. And I've never seen this gentleman before and I had no idea who he was. So when I went to the airport, he introduced me to this gentleman who had come and said, this is Howard Murford. And I didn't know who Howard Murford was, and he said, he's come here, he's the person who is writing. And the reason Howard had come was he was writing his third book called The Invitation to Glory. And at that moment, we were sitting at the airport having a coffee. And those of you who know Howard, he always wears a beret. He took off his beret to scratch his head, and that was the bald-headed man I saw in my dream. So the thing is, brothers and sisters, you don't know who Swami will send to bring you to him. You see, he doesn't have to come in person. It could be anybody, he will come and will bring you. So after that, every evening after work, because Howard was writing the book, he came with his wife Iris, and we put them up in a place called Genting Highlands in Malaysia. We thought he'll be nice, cool atmosphere for him. And he went up there and he sat there. Every evening after work, we used to go up there, have dinner with Howard and Iris, and then we'll sit at Howard's feet. And he'll tell us these beautiful stories about his experiences with Sai and all that sort of thing. And the questions we asked him and the answers he gave us simplified the most complicated spiritual matters. He had the knack for explaining things and putting it into very simple terms. So much so, you really wanted to stay there all night, and listen to this gentleman. So we made it a point every day after work, and those of you who know that place, it's a winding road up. This is back in the 80s. So late 70s actually, late 70s, and we had to go a winding road going up there and coming back at 11, 12 o'clock at night. But we still kept going because there was so much of interest. All three of us were really attracted to this. So the thing is, especially for the young ones who say today that we have never seen Baba in person, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. I had not seen Baba at that time. And he will somehow get you. Those, he says, many are called, few are chosen. So those who are chosen, He will somehow make you come there. And somehow He will bring you into His fold, and you are the ones that are blessed. And He will make sure that everything is fine. After that, I used to think about this and say, and Howard used to say, always keep Him in your heart, and you'll be fine. There were people who told me, Swami is gone today, it's very difficult, we don't know where he is and all that. When Swami attained Mahasamadhi on the 24th of April 2011, those of you who used to, those days, before we went to Parthi, we used to look and it used to say Swami is in Kodaikanal, or Swami is in Puttaparthi, or Swami is in Whitefield. It'll always say that in the website. So on the 25th of April that year, the message went, Swami is in your heart. They had put it up, the Prashanti Council people have put it up, Swami is in your heart. So they are telling everyone, He is there permanently for you. Swami has been saying this for years, but here they have confirmed. So for everyone, Swami is in his heart, in everyone's heart, So then, what we need to do is to be able to call Him up every time. And this becomes the individual sadhana, the individual divine experience that we go through. So we go into a situation and we say, Swami, this is what's going to happen, can you please help me? But the important thing to remember is, don't ask for the result to be what you want. Whatever outcome, Swami, that is the right thing for me, that you have chosen. You have given me, that is the right answer. And I'm happy with that. And even, eventually you'll find, when people are really desperate, those who are complete atheists, who completely say there is no God, I don't believe in all of this. When it comes to the crunch, they will say, oh God, if you are there, please help me. Let me give you another example. Back in 1983, I was the Bhajan convener for a center in Strathfield Center in Sydney. And for special occasions, those days we used to write the bhajans on a blackboard. There were no computers and no projectors and all that sort of things, okay? So we used to write the bhajans on blackboard. But for special occasions, we used to try and type out the bhajans and photocopy sheets and pass it out to everybody. So during my lunch break, I used to go to there were no computers in the office either, so we used to go to the secretary's typewriter and type the bhajans. So this colleague of mine, who is an engineer, he came to me, he said, Krishnan, what are you doing? I said, I'm typing some hymns. He said, what for? I said, there's a special occasion coming, and I'm doing that. He put his hand around me, he said, Krishnan, engineers are practical people, they don't need God. Don't waste your time. I still remember those words. Engineers are practical people, they don't need God. This is what he said to me. Eventually, he and I had to go. Anybody here from Fiji? A lot of people. Do you know a place called Watukola? We were sent to Watukola. There was a company called Emperor Gold Mines, and we were asked to go and...
This is my birthplace.
It's your birthplace? There you have, brother. I built a gold mine for you there, brother. So, we went there, we had to build a gold mine, So him and I, we went there, and they wanted the gold mine in a hurry because there was a cyclone coming. So we couldn't build a new machine for him. This is a machine that goes underground to about 1 kilometer to bring the gold ore out of the ground. Okay? So what we did, we went to a mine in Broken Hill in Australia, where they had a disused machine of the right size. Took it, that was built in 1932. Took it, refurbished it, took it across to Fiji, and we built it. And what we were trying to do, him and I, we were trying to marry modern electronics to this 1932 motor. And that motor was getting very upset with us because it says, I needed pure electricity, not this modern stuff with electronics and all that. So it used to flash all the time, and it takes us about half an hour. So finally, we got to a point of no return. You turn it on, and if it flashes, that's the end of it. I think both of us would have been sacked by the company. Okay? 2 electrical engineers there. So he said, look, before we do anything, let's check each other's calculation. So I checked his calculation, he checked my calculation. We did everything. checked all the wiring, everything was fine. I was going to go, and he said, okay, let's start. So I was going to the switch room to throw the switch, 11,000 volts. And as I was walking, the same guy who told me engineers don't need God, he said, Krishnan, before you throw the switch, pray to your guru. Things were desperate here, brothers and sisters. It is our job that was on the line, So he said, pray to your guru before you throw the switch, he said. I said, I've already done that. And the result was we throw the switch, everything went fine. That's again the blessing from the Lord. I knew that very well, and we were very happy. Many, many occasions, you will experience that yourself, where you know the situation, and sometimes you tell yourself, there was no way I could have done it myself. There was no way I could have done it without His grace. And you get convinced more and more that He is within you, guiding you. And always remember that, brothers, and that will hold you, and sisters, believe that will hold you in good state always. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you, brothers. I'm sure we would love to sit here and listen to these kind of experiences of Swami all night. But we have a busy weekend in front of us. And it's a nice day to just relax outside, enjoy the fresh air as well. So I think we can conclude here with Om and Tri Shanti. Just a reminder that tomorrow the events will start from Suprabhatam at 6 o'clock, and it will be in this hall. So I'll just go through what the program for the morning will be so you can come prepared. It will be 6 to 6:50 is the morning devotion, and that will include Omkar, Vedam, and bhajans, guided meditation. We have a brief 10-minute buffer time, and then 7 to 7:30 is the morning with Sai Yoga Fitness as well. So, of course, from tomorrow you will have your team of MCs who will be running through the program through the day, and I'm sure you'll be enjoying the weekend with all of us. And we will have many more experiences of each of us to share, each of ours to share as well. So feel free to talk to everybody, share your experiences, and feel the Swami within. Sai Ram. Prashant, Om and Tri Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sai Ram.